New year, new me, I say, as I boot up Fire Emblem Sacred Stones for the 100th time and get ready to talk about it for the 100th time. Yeah, this year's going off to a great start.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
So today, rather than doing an outright analysis of a character, I'm going back to one that I've already done. My favorite character in the series, Eirika. 4.5, or actually more like, almost 5 years ago at this point, I did an analysis of Eirika. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. And at the end of it, I say that I'll cover Eirika's supports again some other day. And it just so happens that I've decided that some other day is right now. So I'm just going to go through every single support, talk about it, and say why I think it does what it does well, or could be done better, etc., and etc. If you want a general analysis of Eirika, I recommend just watching my analysis of her. I'm not talking about her in story. I am talking about the context of her supports. So, with all of that out of the way, let's start with Larchelle, because it is the only one of Eirika's supports that does not have a paired ending, so it's technically the easiest to think about. And it is also one of the simpler ones, because the C support is nothing but an excuse to fire off jokes. So it starts with Larchelle being, "Oh wow, what a coincidence meeting you here, isn't that just crazy?" Eirika immediately responds by saying, "No, we were supposed to be here. We agreed to meet here. We talked about this." And Larchelle's like, huh? She just doesn't know a damn thing about anything. Normally, absolute idiots are reserved for the muscle men like Bartray in Fire Emblem. But Sacred Stone says we need women in male-dominated fields. And Larchelle is not the brightest light bulb there is. And that's really all this C support is. It's just Larchelle being dumb and silly and whimsical, and Eirika's the straight man to it. Larchelle's like, of course, isn't it funny? Us two beautiful women going off in a journey, isn't that just wonderful and incredibly amazing? And Eirika's just trying to, like, keep up, which is very hard. The only person in all of Magvel that can keep up with Larchelle is Dozla. But that's really all this C support is. Here's another joke. Larchelle's like, this lovely woman could only be of my own superior breeding. You could never truly fool a woman with my keen mind. You know, talking about how intelligent she is. And Eirika's just like, oh. Okay, like, there's no voice acting in this game, obviously, but you don't need voice acting to get across how a line is said if you know your punctuation. That sentence right there, the period after my and the ellipses after how, perfectly conveys how Eirika is struggling to figure out the right way to respond to this. Because Larchelle is kind of insane. And then, this is another one of my favorite bits. She's just like, oh, well, clearly you can't mask nobility. You have to have known that I was a secret princess just by looking at me. And Eirika's response, yes, why, the very first time I met you, I could see that you were very far from common. Which is an absolutely hilarious way to almost insult someone. And of course, it goes right over Larchelle's head. She does not process that Eirika's, like, kind of making fun of her. It's just a good comedic support at the start. And then the B support starts largely with the same silliness. Larshel is practicing swinging her staff around just in case she's out of magic, but not out of options. Why did I say options like that? Anyways. So at first it just seems, again, Larshel is silly and whimsical, Eirika plays the straight man, and is telling her, like, that's not very smart. Please just leave the fighting to the people who aren't healers. And, okay, again, like, nothing serious. This is the point where things do get serious. Because this is where it's explained why Larshel is so obsessed with fighting monsters. Orphans. That's not the most complex backstory, but her parents were people who fought against monsters. They both died on the battlefield. Simple, you don't really need that to understand Larshel too much. What's important about this, and what I like about it, is, when Larshel says this, Eirika tries to give sympathy and condolences, and Larshel puts on a brave face. She's saying, oh, I don't need you to be sad for me. They died an honorable death. I don't even remember them. I'm not sad one bit. I'm proud of them. Like, and Eirika's like, don't you feel upset by it? Larshel is putting on a mask. She thinks being sad that your parents are dead is weak. That's weak sauce. You're an orphan? Grow up. Deal with it. Obviously, that's cruel and not what she really thinks. She's putting on a front. And Eirika's playing along with it. And Larshel brings up, hey, your dad's dead too. Surely you also feel proud of his noble sacrifice. And this is the good moment for Eirika's character. She doesn't entirely agree with that mentality. She's like, yeah, sure, he didn't retreat, he gave his life. But, I mean, I would have thought no less of him if he had fled. Even if he were no longer a brave king, still, I would be happier if he were still alive. And Larshel's caught off guard by this, because she's like, oh, I need to put on this brave front. Eirika's much more emotionally mature. That's something about Eirika. She has her shit together more than a lot of other people. She's not afraid to remark when she feels sad about something, when she feels angry, but she doesn't necessarily wallow in it. That's the important part that comes to light in other supports. Larshel realizes this, and is willing to break down her mask a little. Because Eirika was vulnerable with her, Larshel's willing to be vulnerable back. And it's nice. It's a very sweet, very tender support. It's not... Fire Emblem usually really abides by the idea of honorable death. There are a lot of sacrifices that get made in the games that the story and the writing genuinely praise. Not all of them, of course. Reinhardt is mocked for his death being completely pointless. If you want to know, like, Felix and, I'm blanking on his brother's name. Glenn. That is, like, that entire character is dedicated to the idea that a noble sacrifice is almost always dumber than being alive and there for the people that need you. Like, so this is admittedly explored better with Felix, but at the same time, this isn't exactly, like, trying to give a deep dive into sacrifice. It's just a small thing saying, hey, even if you died for a good cause, you're still wounding the people you left behind. And it's just a nice moment of vulnerability that shines light on the characters in ways that the story can't. Eirika never had time to grieve her father's death because Ephraim was out and in danger. She had more shit she needed to do. So it's nice that this support gives a little bit of time to sort of just let the characters breathe. You know, what supports do. And the A support is, again, this is actually much more important for Larshel, but, you know, that's the nature of supports. sometimes, like, one of my favorite supports in the entire franchise is Astolfo and Lelina, and Lelina really doesn't do a goddamn thing in that support. She just exists as a means for Astolfo to talk, and that's completely fine. Not every support and every conversation of the support is necessarily meant to be for both characters equally. Sometimes, someone just needs to yap, and the other person needs to listen. And here, it's Larshel, again, trying to put on a front. She's like, that moment of weakness I showed you earlier? Pfft, no, I never even cried, you know? I'm strong. Like that kind of thing. And Eirika's like, she's no longer hesitating in her speech like she was before, because she's got her down. Eirika's got Larshel down. She knows the mask, she knows the silliness, and she understands to just let Larshel act like she's brave. You know her true feelings. You don't need to call her out on acting stronger than she really is. And Larshel is trying to give her a gift. It's a beautiful ruby. It's a symbolic gesture. She is trying to woo a woman by giving her a fantastic jewel. And this is a tragic ending for Larshel, in that she's like, here, take this ruby. I want you to take it. Think of me. And she's like, let me visit Renee when all is said and done. And Eirika's like, yes, of course. We're, hang on, I gotta get to the last line here. Eirika's like, let's live long enough to look back on this, and it will be as the best of friends. And there is no paired ending. Larshel, she's somehow not the biggest bisexual disaster in Magvel, but only because she's in the same game as Leon. So that was the support. I think it's really good. The C bit has a lot of great laughs in it for me. The B support has a very strong, like, tender moment between the two of them. It works great for both characters. Larshel literally gave Eirika the most beautiful ruby in the land, and she didn't even give her a paired ending. That is tragic. Alright, next up, let's do Seth. We have Eirika's admittedly silliest support. Now let's do her one of her most serious ones. I've talked about this support before in a video where I analyzed Eirika and Seth compared to Lynn and Kent, but it's still worth going over again, because not everyone watches every video ever made. So the C support starts off fairly straightforward. Eirika is just concerned about Seth because he's been doing everything. If you're doing like an LTC run or like just an efficient run, Seth is probably just doing everything for your army. So Eirika is naturally worried that, hey, you just went out and killed 40 men with your bare hands. Are you okay? And Seth is actually lying to her, because in the opening of the game, he takes a stab from Volter, and he's like, no, that was fine. Getting impaled by a lance from a man on top of a dragon doesn't affect me in the slightest. And Eirika's like, no, it does. Stop lying to me. And it's because she just notices it. She's paying attention to things around her, and she can see when Seth is in pain. So, this is admittedly a bit of a slow start. It's a good start. You know, it shows Eirika cares about Seth. There's genuine, concern there. He's not just a knight to her. And Seth is trying to blow it off. Like, he's trying to just do his job. But Eirika's persistent. And that's actually a big theme of this support. That Eirika's persistent. She's empathetic, and you will feel better. That is not a choice. She is going to make sure you feel better. And Seth is like, you're praising me too much. Which is funny, because obviously, no, she's not. He's one of the greatest units ever conceived. The B support, again, continues to be fairly simple. Eirika's just training, she's practicing, and Seth is just like, you're doing good, you're doing great. Not always, though. Eirika, in terms of unit quality, if she levels up strength a few times early on, she's actually really great. If she doesn't, she do no damage. But what's important here is, like, Eirika is really gassing Seth up. She's like, I want to learn from you. You're so great. You're the coolest guy around. You're so strong and cool and handsome. And what I really like is Seth's response here. Is like, he's like, the normal thing of like, hey, you're a lord. You shouldn't go on the front lines. I also really like that they don't do the sexist thing where it's like, oh, women shouldn't be on the front lines. No, it's because she's royalty. So, like, good for Seth. He would say the same thing to Ephraim. But he doesn't have to, because Kyle does that. That's the entire point of the Kyle-Ephraim support. And Eirika, again, what she's saying here isn't bad, but we've seen it a million times before. You know, the Lord can't just watch her people suffer for her. She needs to help them on the front lines. Like, it's simple, but it is effective, you know? It's an inherently likable thing to do, to be a leader that doesn't stand back and let other people fight for you. She's on the front lines, she's doing shit, she's going to do that. Simple, but effective. The A support is where things get interesting. Because Eirika comes up, asks Seth if he has a moment, wants to just, you know, practice with him, spend more time with him. And this is where Seth interjects. Because for most of this support, he's just been letting Eirika take the lead. She's the one, like, the C support started because she was worried about his wound. The B support started because she wanted to train and become stronger. And now this support started because she wants to train even more. And Seth is putting his foot down. And what he does here is actually really, in my opinion, one of my favorite moments a knight has. Please forgive my rudeness. Princess, I am merely your subject. Recently, you've been too close to me. It's not becoming of a noble of Renee to fraternize in this way with her subjects. And Eirika's caught off guard by this. He's basically saying, like, he can tell she has the hots for him, and he's like, stop that. You're a queen, I'm a knight. We shouldn't be doing this. And Eirika's trying to find, like, something to say, like, oh, it was just your wound, blah, 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 blah. Seth cuts to the heart of it. He's like, yeah, I was stabbed in the shoulder. That will hurt me probably until I die. But you don't owe me a debt for that. This thought should not rest beneath the crown you must soon wear. And Eirika's trying to be like, trying to be empathetic because Eirika's a nice person. And Seth brings up that the empathy is nice, but in her position as a person in power, you are a noble of Renee. The nobility should not favor one subject over another. How could they maintain their fealty if you treat one so differently? You know, if every knight's noticing that Seth is her obvious favorite, well, how's that going to make them feel? They know that Seth is the top dog. How are they going to swear loyalty to Eirika when they know her loyalty to them is not equal to her loyalty to everyone? You may have to forego such attachments just to defend your country. There will be times when victory in battle demands a sacrifice. If you cannot send your men to die, then you are not fit to rule. That is an insane line for a good guy to be saying. Because normally, like, you had Roy in FE6, where he's like, I'm not gonna lose a single soldier. You're all... Ohana means family, and family means no one left behind. Seth is out here saying the complete opposite. He's like, we are fighting in a war against an evil empire and also Satan. They are willing to kill people, and obviously we're not going to sacrifice for no reason, but we might have to sacrifice. And if you can't do that because you love me, then you won't be able to make the choice when the time comes. And Eirika gets it. She doesn't just go, oh, you're being too hard-headed about this. No. She's like, you're correct. I can't be a naive child here. I'm a grown woman, and I have to do this shit. Please forgive me. That night, we fled from the soldiers of Grotto. You held me tight, keeping me safe from the enemy's blades. Perhaps I did feel something more for you then. But it was improper for a queen of Renee. And with my father dead, I suppose that is my station. I am a queen, and you are a knight in my service. If I do not keep this in mind, then I'll never be able to rebuild our kingdom. It's actually really depressing to think about. You know, it's a forbidden love thing. Forbidden love is always popular. Because man has an innate desire to look at the forces of the world and tell them to go fuck themselves. And Seth at first just leaves. And you think, wow, that was really sad. But he comes back. Because Seth, despite everything he said, can't just leave it alone. He has to get this off of his chest. That night, I felt what you felt. When I held you in my arms as we rode into the night. It was the first time since I was knighted that I forgot my duty. I thought of you not as my queen, but rather someone I wanted to protect from all harm. I wanted to leave everything behind, to take you far away to some place where we could be together. Those were my thoughts. Please forgive me. I swear to you that I will never again forget my duty in that way. Now, please excuse me. When I see you next, it will be as a knight of Renee, and I will lay down my life to protect my queen. That is a really good moment for Seth, because Seth is not as, like, dull or loyal of a knight as he looks. There's actually a lot of bite to him, and that support is amazing for a lot of reasons. Actually having Eirika acknowledge her place as the leader of an army is really important, because a lot of Eirika's character is that she is naive, and that she really doesn't belong in charge of an army, but that was the hand she was dealt. She was forced into it, and she has to grow into it, but she's not gonna run away from that. When uncomfortable things, like having to be willing to let men die, or when she realizes she can't peacefully negotiate with every enemy, she stands up for it. And that's something really good about her, is that she's still kind, but she doesn't lose sight of who she is and what she has to do to be who she is. And obviously, Seth showing more sides of him than just knight is really good. Solid support. Their ending is also something I want to talk about. The actual ending is, upon their return to Renee, Eirika and Seth were wed, with the blessings of Ephraim and all the knights of Renee. The tale of the love that grew between a princess and her loyal knight became a beloved romance in Renee. Which sounds like that's contradictory to what just happened. That is a localization thing. The Japanese ending of the support acknowledges that because of Eirika's persistence and Ephraim's matchmaking, that they got married. So while Seth was like, we can't do it. You're a princess, I'm a knight. Ephraim was like, hey, you're in love, I'm the king, Eirika can do what she wants, no one's gonna complain, and Eirika never gives up either. It's sweet. Really sweet romance, says a lot about both characters. It does admittedly start a little slow, like the C and B just exist to build up the A. Not a whole lot that dramatic happens in them, but that's fine. They're still good at what they do, but just like, you know, someone being empathetic or someone wanting to become stronger. Like, those aren't unique traits, but they're good traits. They're nice. Alright, let's go to a simpler one. Saleh. This one's really simple to analyze for Eirika's character, because there's not a whole lot for Eirika's character that happens in it. This is like the only time in the entire game that Sacred Stones cares about world building. For the most part, it tries to build its world through its characters, but this support it's interesting. I don't know why Care Plen gets, like, this big lore drop here. But still, Eirika is talking to Saleh as he's praying. Kind of. He's doing something called, it was just on screen, and I already forgot what it was. Valiga? It'll come on screen again. He's just praying. He's making a wish that expands, it's prayer. He is essentially praying, and Eirika's like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'd like to learn more about your country. Or not country, your town, your people. And Saleh's like, sure. Alright, simple. And then the B support happens, and it's largely Eirika actually learning about a different culture and being Valiga. Ain't that the dragon from Ocarina of Time? She's like, oh, okay. It's just talking about the prayer. By knowing the vastness of creation around you, you come to know yourself. And then by transcending your selfish needs, you wish for a better world. Is that supposed to be Buddhism? I'll admit I'm no theologist. All I know about Buddhism is one of my favorite tweets ever made is about One Piece. Ace in the Japanese, in the manga, he has the Tau symbol, which for those of you that don't know, that is the Buddhist symbol that later became the swastika. So now in the localization, it became a cross in the anime, and then it's just become a cross since. And then someone said, man, Buddhists can't have shit. And then someone quote tweeted that with, that's kind of the whole point of Buddhism, which is really funny. That had nothing to do with anything, but I tend to meander. And Eirika basically went, by praying and thinking about the world around me and sitting under the tree like our great Lord Buddha, who's not a lord, he's just an... Anyways. She's like, okay. She did a Buddhist prayer. And Saleh's like, oh, wow, you prayed. Thank you. He's like genuinely pleased that she listened to his culture and seems to genuinely respect it. And then we get a backstory. Some famous fighter, this is something that Sacred Stones is missing, is like a history. Like, you draw, we know the names of the Crusaders, vaguely what they did, we see the civilizations that they built. There's really good world building, because world building is much more than just, this is a place that exists in the world. Yeah, that's it. That's not world building, you've just given a name and a place. So here, we learn about Care Plen, we learn about its customs, and we learn about its figure. A figure in it, excuse me. A warrior princess. It's nothing crazy. He's just like, Eirika, you remind me of this warrior princess. A beautiful woman who took a big dragon sword and just killed invaders. When is this woman getting in Fire Emblem Heroes? If they want to, do they still do those heroes where it's like big mythical figures like Anakos and the Crusaders and stuff? And Saleh's just like, yeah, you remind me of this incredible warrior. And Eirika's like, when Grotto invaded, I was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything. It's only because of the sacrifices of others that I could even escape. And Saleh gives her a confidence boost. He's like, well, yeah, that was then, but this is now. You're here with strength, courage, and dignity. And she calls him Master. I don't know why she calls him Master. Is that like... because, like he's a monk? Is Master a title for monks? I know there's a Master is a title for monks. I played Shining Force 2. And he's just like, if you achieve victory, the legend will become a reality. Just, keep doing what you're doing. And she's like, yeah, I get it. I have a reason to fight. I have things to protect. I fight for the future. The future of Renee, and the future of my people. Thank you. It's a confidence boost. Because again, Eirika's not infallible. So she gets a little pep talk. That's nice. Again, it's not the most riveting for her character, but it gives world building, and a lot of people really like that. I think it's cool. And then there's the A support. Okay, now for the A support. Now this one is actually a bit for Eirika's character. A simple thing, but a good thing. She's lost in thoughts all alone, blah blah blah. Fate's joke. And Saleh's not judging her for being lost in thought, even though he would definitely judge the shit out of Ewan for being lost in thought, but that's because Ewan is baby. And Eirika's explaining she's just remembering the good old days. She's remembering what she's fighting for. Beautiful mountains, the clearest rivers, the scent of wildflowers filled the air, the sky was clear and bright. This was before war scarred the hills and scorched the skies. It was a wonderful place. Every day was filled with hope and possibility. My brother and I would go hunting with Prince Leon. I would make lunches for us, Ephraim would tease, but Leon was happy. I miss that time very much. Which also says, oh hey, Eirika hunts as a hobby. Dude, do you think... How good is the venison in Magvel, you think? You think Eirika hunts a deer? Do you think she knows how to make it herself? Can she make venison? These are the thoughts that a fat man has when reading supports. And Saleh's like, hey, I'm here for you. I will help you get that Renee back. It's not exactly the most complicated thing. I've been saying that a lot, but that's kind of what Fire Emblem does really well, is executing simple concepts. This is just Eirika being wistful, remembering what it is she's fighting for, which kind of doubles back to what this support started with, a prayer for what you want. And thinking about that led to Eirika truly remembering what she fights for. It's a sweet support. And she ends it with going, she wants to go to Caer Plen and just see it again. Because just as she looks back at her home fondly, Saleh does for his. And she wants to see that again. And he's like, yeah, sure, come whenever you want. It's a very sweet support, and their ending reads as follows. After the war, Eirika and Saleh returned to their respective homes. Eirika visited Caer Plen when she could, and eventually she left Renee in the care of her brother and wed Saleh. Their daughter resembles the legendary Natakuya. I'll admit, even as a kid, I thought it was weird that they got married. Like, I didn't really read anything necessarily romantic about that. I mean, I guess there's the fact that he's like, I'll help your dream become a reality. And he's like, oh yes, you're a beautiful woman, just like this other beautiful woman that's literally a legend. Like, imagine walking up to a woman and going, you remind me of Aphrodite. Like, fair. But still, it's sweet. It's actually kind of funny if you think about the dialogue when you recruit Saleh. Because his grandmother's like, hey, please be nice and befriend my grandson. He's kind of antisocial, but he's a good boy and he's the only family I've got. And then Eirika's like, oh, I'll do more than just be his friend. It's sweet, it's cute, and has world building. A solid support doesn't necessarily show too much for Eirika's character, other than just what she's fighting for, which is nice. Alright. Let's go over to Tana, Ephraim, Inez, and Forde are left. Let's do Inez, because Inez is a ton of fun. So, the only context you need is that Eirika came to save Inez when he was being, like, attacked by a bunch of enemies. So he's like, I need to protect you because, you know, you saved my life and I just can't let a debt go unpaid. I've decided to protect you in battle. I don't know how to say this, but it is unacceptable that I remain indebted to you. And then Eirika's like, oh, you and your fool pride. This is another aspect of Eirika that kind of has gotten lost over time. and that's her wit. Like, you saw it with Larshel, and you see it a lot with Inez, where, like, she just doesn't put up with people's shit a lot of the time. And eventually, like, she got the hang of Larshel's shit. She's gonna get the hang of Inez's shit. But she's very much, like, not afraid to jab you. No arrow can reach all enemies, but I guarantee your safety. Will you accept my oath? Sure. Like, again, no voice acting. You can tell exactly how Eirika said that and how she felt about that. Like, sure. I accept. Thank you. And Prince, like, she very clearly thinks he's being ridiculous. And he is. And he's like, follow me then. Wait a moment, Inez. You're an archer. Wouldn't it make more sense if you stayed behind me? And then that ellipses by Inez is really funny. They do this exact same joke again in Fire Emblem Engage. Alchrist has a bit where he's like looking at Lapis and I forgot her name. Amethyst? No. Citron. Why the fuck did I say Amethyst? Lapis and Citron, they're all rocks. That's Brody's shtick. And he's like, get behind me, I'll protect you. And they're like, dude, you're an archer. Get behind us. But it's not nearly as funny there because Inez is a douchebag. So when you remove the fact that it is a douchebag getting humbled, it's not nearly as funny. And then the B support happens, where Inez's fragile ego is just jabbed. This is a great interaction. What is it now, Inez? I told you I was going to protect you. Right? And yet, whenever an enemy shows himself, you rush in and attack. Everyone's gonna think you're the one protecting me. Well, I can't help you with your image problems, Inez. That is a top 10 line. I fucking love that line so much. Because again, Eirika's not just taking his shit. Inez, while he is a good guy, he is undoubtedly kind of a prick. He has a huge ego. He gets in his own head that he needs to do all these things when he doesn't. He makes up rules in his head and thinks the world has to abide by them. For his own reasons. I've done a character analysis on Inez. He's really great. But this support is really good at just, like, shooting him down, bringing him down to earth. And it's fun for Eirika, because she has funny lines, like the Archer joke, that bit with his image problems. It's funny. The problem with analyzing comedy, though, is explaining a joke doesn't make it funny. Like, that's kind of like the way to kill a joke. So to analyze comedic supports, I really can't do anything other than point at it and go, hey, that was funny. But it is. And it also has more of Eirika because, like, a nice note for her character here is while she's willing to make fun of him, she's not just gonna endlessly mock him. Like, she acknowledges that he is genuinely trying, and she appreciates that. It's like, she's not someone who's just a sweet, innocent type, who's just always thankful, always sweet. There's some bite to her, but not enough that she's suddenly, like, a mean-spirited character. She's just willing to tease. Kind of just like Ephraim. Funny I say that now. And then this is Inez's homoerotic rivalry with Ephraim. She's just like, maybe you only see him as a warrior, as competition. That's exactly what he sees him as. Like, it's also very funny that she has Inez pegged down perfectly. She's like, you just see him as a rival. Like, stop doing that. He's kind-hearted and sweet, too. He's like, oh, sure. If you say so. It's funny. It's cute. Something that I haven't addressed, but it does apply to a few of Eirika's supports, is that her supports with Seth, really everyone other than Saleh and Larshel, the supports don't have to build the interaction from the ground up. There's history between Eirika and Inez. They've known each other a long time. There's history between Eirika and Tana, Eirika and Seth, Eirika and Forde. Like, they've known each other. So because they don't have to establish the start of the relationship, they can kind of leave that for you to think about and piece together. Like, how have Eirika and Inez interacted in the, I don't know, 10 years they've known each other? Maybe a little more than that. I don't know. I don't know how old any of these characters are. I've always thought they felt like early 20s. And Inez is, like, noticeably older. Not noticeably, maybe, like, 25 to... While Eirika and Ephraim are 22. I don't know. I've never gotten the thought that these are, like, teenagers, like Roy. Like, Roy is 15, and he very clearly looks like a child. I don't think Eirika and Inez, I don't think they look like children. I could be wrong, though. Then again, sometimes official ages for characters are crazy. Like, Vander is not 47. Sorry, I was yapping. I talked over that last bit. Basically, and then the B support is like, Inez like, oh, I'm so jealous of Ephraim. And she's like, what? Why? And they're like, oh, what could it mean? Because something to remember about how supports are consumed is organically, you don't read them like this. You don't do the C, finish it, go to the B, finish it, and then go to the A, like, immediately. Battles have to pass. Time passes, so supports kind of have a natural to be continued in the middle of them. So that B support's like, hey, what the fuck was Inez just talking about? And then the A support is where you're like, oh, finally, when you see that you can support Eirika and Inez again, you're like, oh, great, I can figure something out. And this is admittedly a lot more about Inez. Like, this support is him being... Actually, it's kind of funny how this starts. He's like, alright, just listen to me. Is there anyone who lays claim to your heart? What? No, there's nobody like that. I see. Then let me speak frankly. Eirika, it seems I fall... Like, he just comes out blunt. Is like, hey, I love you. And also, shoutouts to Inez for being like, hold up. I'm gonna see if she's in love first. I'm not gonna be a home wrecker. But if no one's there, I'm moving in. Like, good for him. And she's like, what? This is no place for... Like, the bluntness of it gets me every time. Like, not only... JRPGs really like to drag their feet in having characters who are obviously into each other admit that they're into each other. But, like, this one's... No, Inez is just like, yeah, no, I'm doing this. This is no joke. I'm absolutely serious. These feelings surprised me as well. I don't know what to do. Fighting at your side all this time, the emotion just exploded within me. Now, this would be a very romantic idea. Like, I fought alongside you, I've known you for so long, I couldn't help but fall for you. Like, this would be so sweet, so romantic, but Inez cannot help being Inez. Before Eirika can even respond to his confession of love, he has to bring Ephraim into this for no fucking reason. Alright. She's like, why are you bringing him into this? And this is Inez's fucked up brain. His mentality is, Eirika is an incredible woman. She is the greatest woman in Magvel. Her husband needs to be the greatest man in Magvel. But if I don't prove that I'm better than Ephraim, then I haven't proven that I'm the greatest man in Magvel, so Eirika would deserve better than me. Now you might be thinking that sounds fucking stupid. It is fucking stupid. That's the problem. Like, he literally just confessed to Eirika and immediately followed up with, I'm going to destroy your brother. And it's just, Inez, why are you like this? And then he just leaves. He just fucking leaves. God, I forgot how funny this is. And Eirika's just left to sit here. Like, what an infuriating man. Why does he have to be so... That's really good. It's really funny. Again, that last bit has almost nothing for Eirika's character. It's all Inez, and it's all really funny. But their ending reads as follows. After the reconstruction of Renee, Inez challenged Ephraim to a duel. The match ended in a tie. After the fight, Eirika acknowledged her love for Inez, and the two were wed with Ephraim's blessings. That is a support and ending that's, there's the obvious. Inez is like, I need to prove I'm better. And even though he never proves that he's better than Ephraim, Eirika manages to convince him that you don't need to destroy my brother. You can just be yourself. And it's sweet. I actually really like Eirika and Inez together, but I'm also a big fan of those couples that aren't afraid to, jab each other and tease each other. That's why I really like Hector and Lynn, I really like May and Bowie, and this kind of gives similar energy to that, even though it's like Inez doesn't tease back. He's kind of just the one getting jabbed, which he deserves, which makes it funnier. It's good. I really like it. It does a lot for Eirika's character. It gives her a lot of witty and funny moments to remember. And it's good for Inez to just, have a support highlighting how in his own head he is and how he needs to leave. It's a good one. Shows good aspects to Eirika's character, goes good aspects to Inez's. Solid support. Now, Tana will do next, because it's another simple one. Alright. C support, Tana is going to begin with having self-esteem issues. She's like, I haven't been very much help to you, Eirika. I'm still in training, I'm not battle ready. Because that's the thing about Tana. She kind of just ran off to whichever twin, Eirika or Ephraim, and just was like, I need to help, without thinking things through. But Eirika's like, no, you're a great help to all of us. I've seen you in action. I've seen you stab a man to death. You're good. You have rained hell from above. You're good. And that's nice, It's nice that Eirika's giving a pep talk, especially when in, say, the Saleh support and the Seth support she has a bit of doubt. It's nice. Because it shows that Eirika, she does have her own doubts, but it's not enough to cloud her own confidence. And she's willing to boost the confidence of those around her. She's a nice person. And this is, I see you as a sister, we're BFFs, but you seem so much more mature. It's a sweet. Again, despite them being the same age, Tana does act like a little sister here. She's like, aw man, you're so cool, Eirika. I wish I was as cool as you. And Eirika's just like, aw, thanks, Tana. It's sweet. And in the B support, it continues that dynamic, with Tana getting all upset because her brother is her brother. Inez is just rude to her because of who he is as a person. And it's really funny, this support can happen technically, before you recruit Inez. Because you get Tana on chapter 9, and Inez on chapter 10. So she can be bitching and moaning, like, oh, Inez told me I should just go back to Frelia. Meanwhile, Inez is getting fired at by Carcino because you haven't actually even recruited him yet. Which is really funny to think that, because then that would have to happen. Tana would have to fly over there, and Inez would go, what the fuck are you doing here? Go back to Frelia. And then Tana immediately about faces to Eirika and is like, this fucking asshole. Which is actually kind of what happens if you use Tana to recruit Inez. But this is Eirika just being a sweet older sister character to her. Tana's complaining, whining, and Eirika's taking the knowledgeable route here. She knows Inez. She knows that he just doesn't know how to show his concern, and she's talking Tana down. Again, it's sweet. It's like, hey, even my brother gets angry at me. She's just she's empathizing with Tana. She knows what to say, and she knows how to defuse the situation. Again, they have history together. It's showing that Eirika and Tana really know each other. Eirika knows exactly what to say, and again, it's sweet. It's just an innately sweet thing to see Eirika be there for her friend, and calm her down. And then we get a little bit of a nice joke at the end here, where it's Tana's really jealous because Eirika and Ephraim don't fight, they don't mock each other like Inez mocks Tana. And it's not necessarily because they're twins, it's because your brother is Inez. Inez is the weird one, not Eirika. But then Eirika's like, oh, we're twins, we're in sync. I was like, oh, but you never fight. How are you so good at that? Well, isn't that normal for twins? I don't know, just a little silly line. And then the A support is, again, just two people being concerned for each other. Like, Tana's like, hey, are you feeling alright? I was like, yeah. It's like, do you think I've grown stronger? I mean, stronger than when I was cooped up in the castle? Again, and Eirika's like, yeah, no, you slay queen, you're absolutely doing it. And it's nice to see Eirika being the one to instill confidence in others, when in a lot of other supports, they're the ones instilling confidence in her. It's like, it's a multi-way street. Sometimes she needs reassurance, but other times she needs to reassure others. And again, it's Eirika being like, hey, I didn't get here on my own. I needed the help of people around me. She's humble, but not self-deprecative. And that's important. Like, she wouldn't be nearly as interesting if she was just a character who did nothing but say, I would be worthless, I am garbage, without the people around me, I would suck. No, she knows what she's doing, she knows she has to fight, but just, she's also willing to acknowledge there are others fighting with her. And again, it's the two of them being like, we'll do this together, then we can just kick back and relax. It's really sweet, and then we'll have to apologize to your father for you just running out on him. It's like, ooh, I wonder if he's still mad that I directly disobeyed him and flew out to fight in a war without his permission. It is kind of funny. And she's like, Eirika, could you please come with me? Again, Eirika already knows what she's about to say. It's a very sweet relationship. I like it a lot. And the ending for it reads as follows. Following the war, Tana and Eirika remained the best of friends. They visited one another when time permitted, and as they grew older, their children shared a bond of friendship as close as Eirika and Tana themselves did. Which is very sweet. Eirika and Tana grew up, they fell in love with, got their husbands and children, but that didn't change their friendship. Which is something that happens a lot. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, we're best friends, we'll never leave. But then time happens, you get partners, and like, you grow apart. I have a buddy who was my best friend in high school. Mike, if you're watching this, I still love you, but you moved halfway across the country with your girlfriend, and we don't talk as much. That's not like, nothing against him, we don't hate each other, but time just drifts people apart. Eirika and Tana? Nope. Time didn't drift them apart. They're still friends. Their children are friends. They are still family. Ohana means family, and family means no one left behind. That's the theme here. Alright, so now I got two more. Ephraim and Forde. Let's do Forde. Okay. The fact that the backdrop is Johanna on fire is really funny, because this is a very, like, laid-back support. So, like, the fact that everything's on fire while this is happening is really funny. And, again, immediately, she's teasing him. He's very clearly like, you know, napping, because one of Forde's shticks is that he's always trying to fuck off and take a nap. He's like, oh, you're looking in rare form today. Ah, princess. Yes, I'm trying not to overextend myself today. You know, it's just Forde and her being silly, laid back. It's like, oh, I see you're looking great too. And Forde, what he's doing here is he's the first person, one of the first people, to acknowledge the fact that, like, why are you fighting in a skirt? He's just like, aren't you leaving too much exposed? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, too exposed. Especially around the midriff, if you will. Aren't you worried that in the heat of battle it might, basically, he's like, aren't you worried that your skirt's just gonna fly up? And, like, obviously, he's never heard of the Roman army, or pantsless Marth. Fighting in skirts is actually peak militaristic combat. Obviously, the Roman army is not why the women in Fire Emblem run around in miniskirts, but I'm just saying, Forde should educate himself. It's like, oh, fly up like this? He's like, whoa, you were, just joking. Wow, don't scare me like that. So fun fact, this is my knowledge of the Japanese script. In English, she pretends to flash him. In Japanese, she actually does. I don't know why they changed it to a joke. Like, that doesn't... I don't know. But the support remains the same after that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. That must have seemed rather unlike... Yeah, you know, a little bit. Honestly, though, I do rather like this armor. It's comfy and easy to wear. Literally, youngster Joey right here. I think that freedom of movement is far more important to me in combat. And then we get it's a lighthearted exchange here, too. Where he's like, oh, okay, I get it. Everyone has their armor. I've gotten long uses out of mine. And she's like, now that I look at it, I can see all the scars from your fights. And again, a funny joke by Forde here. A knight's greatest pride are the scars his armor bears for him. This battered shell of mine is the only true badge of valor. The only real sign that I've weathered blade and arrow for king and country. And then he's like, oh, and, well, in my case, some of these dents are from me falling off my horse. Oh, and some came from falling asleep in my armor and rolling onto my weapons. Kind of a lot of them, actually. It's a very funny little joke there. And then here's Eirika being serious. It's like, hey, you stood by Ephraim when we were separated. I never got a chance to thank you. Kyle can go fuck himself, but Forde, she needs to thank you. It's like, oh, it's nothing, really. To be fair, Ephraim probably saved my hide more often than I his. I doubt that. My brother rushes into battle without thought for consequence. I think, if nothing else, you restrained his natural recklessness. Which, to her credit, when Ephraim said, let's go invade Renval, the first thing Forde said was, are you fucking insane? So, like, she's not wrong here. Oh, and I made the joke about her not respecting Kyle, but no, she does here. My bad. Princess. Forde, Renee thanks you. May you always stand beside us. At your service, Princess. It's very sweet. Like, Eirika and Forde are both characters that are willing to crack jokes and be a bit silly. Forde more often than her. So it's just nice to see two light-hearted people bounce off of each other. It's cute, it's silly, and the base support continues that largely light-hearted tone. He's like, ah, Eirika, good to see you. And it's like, oh yeah, good to have you on my side. Again, think it's only because of your skill, she's gassing him up. And it's like, well, we're all here doing our own shit. No pulling back now. Alright, and he's like, oh, my lady, leave the fighting to us soldiers. Even if there be an unholy hail of arrows, we would ride into them for your sake. Why, thank you, Sir Knight. And it's just like I like that entire greeting is just them joking with each other. It helps sell the familiarity because, again, I've said this many times before, there's history between them that we don't know. Eirika and Forde know each other. So, like, they don't need to establish that. You can just have them joking around like they've known each other, and we understand their dynamic. We know that they've probably been like this for a while. Say, Forde, what will you do when the fighting's all over? When the fighting's over? Good question. Well, I suppose I'll return to Renee and take a very, very long nap. That does sound like you. And then, I like how there's no ellipses or anything indicating that she's judging him for this. She's just like, yep, classic Forde, that's what he would do. And then this is like, oh, he paints. And this is... I love Eirika, she's my favorite character in this series. But she does one of the most insufferable things you can do to an artist. He's like, oh yeah, I paint. I tried to keep it to myself, but some people have figured me out already. And the first thing she does, first of all, oh, I'd love to see your work. And okay, that's fine. You know, you draw, let me see what you draw. That's fine. But then she says, oh, and, would you ever consider doing a portrait of me? Eirika, you literally, oh, you draw? Can you draw me? Me? Can you draw me? That's really cool. You can draw, that's good. Draw. Eirika, artists hate you. But However, remember, she's a little sheltered. And it's like, oh, is that distasteful? No, it's just, I so rarely do portraits. So, it would be a bother? Not at all. A bother? Really? This request comes from my princess. I'd be more than happy to. Thank you, Forde. I'm saying this now because I don't remember which Forde support it comes up in. The reason Forde's a landscape painter. Predominantly. He paints scenery, he paints like lakes, forests, mountains, etc. Because the only portrait he ever drew was of his dead mother. So he struggles to draw portraits because of that. I don't remember if this support says that. I think it's a support with Kyle. That being said, if this support goes into that and I just spoke for no reason... Whoops. Princess Eirika. Forde. You asked me earlier what I would do when all this fighting ended. I remember. Well, I should have asked you too. What will you do when this fighting ends? Me? Yes. I'd like to restore Renee and bring happiness back to her people. Princess Eirika. It is not enough that this war end, that we go home again. It's not enough that my brother becomes king. These things aren't enough to make a good country. People deserve happiness. They are the reason that we rule. Without the people, there can be no Renee. To live happily, to be proud of our nation, to restore the happiness of our people. Yes, that is my dream now. It's an abstract goal, and perhaps a little vague, but again, that's not like... Eirika acknowledging that things aren't magically over when the war is done. Every Fire Emblem game does that. All of them are like, well, beating the big bad's just the beginning. But seeing that Eirika's already talking about it, already knows it, and like has her mind's eye focused on what needs to be done, it's good. Again, what with Eirika also being like a naive character, her naivety is one of her main traits. The fact that she does have enough knowledge to know that killing Satan doesn't magically fix the world, it's nice. And it's like, and Forde's, willing to be there for her. He's like, hey, I know your goal is abstract, but you have one, and I know that you're gonna work for it. It's very sweet. And, I've come to a decision. I know I've already sworn an oath, but I want to renew that vow. Please, let me help you make your dream come true. I'll do anything I can to help you, as long as it doesn't require heavy lifting. Again, Forde had to get one little joke in there. Thank you. I'm very grateful to you, Forde. It feels like this war might never end, and our people give in to despair quickly. But thanks to people like you, who smile in the face of sorrow, they can be saved. Oh no, you make too much of it. I'm nothing special. I simply cannot allow myself to worry when there's fighting to be done. You're the special one. You have such a profound effect on us all. Me? How so? It is because of you that we can go on. You and the prince are here, risking your lives for the cause. Your guidance, your leadership, it gives us a reason to live as well. A reason to live? Yes, to restore that radiant smile to your own lovely face. Oh, I like that like she was not ready for him to, say something like that. I fight to see you smile again, to drive the worry from your face. If I can do that, then I will be more than happy to paint your portrait. Forde. Well, we'll do it together. Every day is another step closer to the end of the war. One step closer to making your dream come true. Agreed. I love that bit so much. I think Eirika and Forde are really sweet together. They're my favorite pairing in this game. I'm also a bit of a fucked up bastard, so my other favorite is Eirika and Leon, but very specifically it's unrequited love, like Eirika doesn't love him back in a romantic sense, but that's just because I'm an evil bastard and I enjoy angst and suffering. But their ending is, after the war, Eirika and Forde returned to Renee. Eirika spent her days toiling in the reconstruction of Renee, and he was her faithful supporter. His portrait of Eirika captured the smile he had thought lost forever. There's not too much to say. That's just really cute. All the interactions are really sweet between them. There's some chuckles in there. It's just a very sweet support. It helps, like, make Forde seem more aware of things, because, you know, on the surface, he's the jokester, the laid-back guy. But no, he takes things seriously. He knows what he's about. And Eirika is able to, like, it gives Eirika a relationship where she can just kick back and be herself, teasing around, just being sweet and kind, but not necessarily, like, being boring. I love it very much. Now for the Ephraim support. Which, oh god, this has probably the worst fucking localization change in the entire game. Alright, so it comes in, Ephraim's just worried about her. He's doting, though. She's like, yes, thank you, but you do understand that I'm here to fight, don't you? I can't ask you to watch me constantly. I'm your sister, not your ward. Again, like, hey, let me fight my own battles here. And Ephraim's like, alright. And God, okay. What Ephraim is doing here is patting her head. He's like ruffling her hair. That's all he's doing. Now, for those of you that don't know this support, if you are someone localizing this game and going, alright, how do we translate rough, like head patting, ruffling hair? Think, what would you localize it as? How about stroking your face? That is such a weird thing to do under any context. Now, I need to actually say this clearly. I am 95% of the time pro-localization. I literally earlier today watched a 4-minute video analyzing why Sonic the Hedgehog saying, "Oh yeah, this is happening," in Sonic Adventure is peak localization. In general, I support slight alterations to the script if they keep the original meaning and keep the tone. And hell, even when they just throw away the original jokes to match the style, Bobobo's English script is like 90% original to English, but it's a faithful adaptation because it understands Bobo. Anyways, Bobo aside, this just makes this seem really weird when the whole bit is like, Eirika's really trying to be an independent, grown-ass woman, and because Ephraim's a little shit, he's like, oh, I'll just, treat her like a little kid, it's a force of habit, I'm sorry. But you came to pester me to do it for you when we were little, don't you remember? And Eirika's like, he's just fucking with her. Because Ephraim is a little shit in a lot of ways, and I love him for that. But she's just like, hey, come on the fuck on, dude. We're in the middle of war. Like, imagine fucking Kyle decapitates a man and looks over, and Ephraim's like giving Eirika a noogie. Like, know your time and place, dude. It's like, oh yes, that would be embarrassing. Forgive me, I did not mean to do anything you would find unpleasant. No, I didn't mean that. It's just, oh, so you really want me to pat your head? No, I mean, look. Oh, you always did blush so easily. You haven't changed. He's just being a dick. Like, he's actually pissing her off. I know, that's sweet. Maybe that doesn't hit as hard if you don't have siblings, but sometimes siblings just bother each other for no reason. Like, pissing off your sibling is, like, powerful. My brother was, like, on Christmas, was trying to tell me how he didn't like Kingdom Hearts after 2 because he thought the concept of more Keyblade wielders than Sora was dumb. And I'm like, bitch, did you not see Riku and Michael Mouse? There have always been multiple Keyblade wielders. I love my brother to death, but fuck him. I love him. Fuck him. Anyways, going on to the B support, this is the single most important bit in the entire game for Ephraim. So, like, the C support, it was just them being siblings. It's like, it's nice to have a moment because in the context of the story, it's this very serious, like, oh, brother, because, their lives are in danger. They're just like, "Oh, brother, I love and care about you. Yes, sister, I love and care about you as well. Let us do what we need to." It's fairly, like, standard and by the book in the story. The C support lets them be more of, like, gremlins, which is very nice. Alright. And this one is just Ephraim teaching her more fighting tricks. And she's like, "Oh, thank you. I have a lot to learn." And he's like, "Oh, no. You're doing a lot of you're doing great." Again, Eirika doesn't feel as though, like, she has self-confidence. That's very important. Because I like that Eirika isn't one of those lords like, "Oh man, I'm so weak, I feel like a burden." Like, she has moments like that, like when Ephraim has to save her in Renval, but it doesn't dominate everything about her. It's just a moment where she's weak. She, in general, does not feel that she is weak. And this is a fairly simple, like, man, why do we need violence? Why can't we just, talk all of our problems over? Again, like, she knows she's realized that that's how it is. But, you know, I feel like everyone has had a conversation where it's like, man, wouldn't it be great if all this war shit didn't happen? It's a fairly normal thing to think about. But, you know, that's that. Sadly, it often boils down to, it is what it is. It be like it do. And you just gotta vent about it sometimes. And that's what Eirika's doing right here. She's like, why do we need war? Why are we waiting on a war? And Ephraim's speech here is really good for his character. So I'm just gonna say it, even if it doesn't have much for Eirika, just because I love the monologue. In ancient times, our ancestors fought all manner of evil beasts. But once the beasts were subdued, man then fought against fellow man. So we learned from Leon. I know. But if men understand the futility of fighting, why do they do it? We could gain so much more by cooperation than by conquest. You may be right, but I think I understand why. Why, brother? I pray for peace to return to our fair Renee. I know that war brings only sorrow, and yet, somewhere in my heart, there's a lust for battle that cannot be stilled. It screams within me when I clutch this spear. Perhaps it's because I'm a man. Perhaps it's because I was raised to fight. I enjoy the practice of my art. I find pleasure in the battle victorious. And the stronger I become, the more strongly the call to arms sounds within my ears. I want to see how great is the skill that I have acquired. How great is the skill that I've acquired? It may be crass and low, but I can't deny it. That tells you a lot about Ephraim's character and who he is. But that's for another time. Ephraim really came out here and said, I enjoy violence and it is a primal part of my condition. And Eirika's like, no, I could never disown you, but listen, don't just do violence for violence sake. And again, this is Eirika growing a bit. Like, she understands that violence needs to happen, which is something she didn't understand at the start of the game. So it's again reiterating that she understands sometimes there are people who words alone can never reach. And Ephraim's like, don't worry, I'm not going to be a blood-crazed tyrant, I'm not that insane. I could never bear to see you cry for our people. Besides, I would fear the judgment of your mighty sword. And again, he just gave that long-ass monologue about the thoughts that plague his mind and how they counteract with his desire to be a fair and just king. And then he immediately follows it up with teasing Eirika again. Like, Ephraim literally just vented the most deranged, suicidal, and concerning behavior in the Discord group chat, and then followed it up with, well, it is like it is, and then tried to act like he didn't just say something incredibly horrifying. It's a great support. And then the A one is another moment where Eirika's being vulnerable, in a really, like, you get her. Because in this support, she's like, the end is in sight. And it's like, and Ephraim's like, yeah, we're almost there. You'll be crowned King of Renee, I'll help you rebuild the land. We'll make it happy and prosperous, free of conflict. Just like us three used to dream about. We three. God, again, an ellipses can completely change everything. Like, you feel the pause of both of them thinking about Leon and how he's not gonna be there. This support does run into the problem where it can technically happen before you realize that Leon is Satan. So, like, it can be a little hard for you to, like, it can be a little hard because, like, this can happen in, like, Scorched Sand, not Scorched Sand, that's too early, but, like, in the middle of Volney Ruins before you learn the truth about Leon. But I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and understand this is meant to be thought about after they realize Leon's too far gone. We three had so many grand ideas for the futures of our lands. Yeah, we talked about a lot, but Leon... just silence. Like, they don't even, like, go into Leon right now, which I think says a lot. They're both, like, shaken up by this. For Eirika, I mean, that's obvious. She's been a very empathetic person the entire game. It also does a lot for Ephraim, that he can't even bring himself to talk about it. Brother, please promise me that you won't ever leave me alone. Please, promise. And, like, this is very clearly Eirika realizing, like, she's lost her father, she's lost Leon. Of the three most important men in her life, only one remains. And here she is, just saying, please, don't go off and fucking die. Don't throw your life away. Please. It's a real moment of vulnerability and fear from her. That's completely understandable. Like, why would you ever think I would do something like that? Look at Fado and Leon. She has reason. I know better than anyone how you feel, dear sister. Ever since we were born, no, even before, we two have always been together. And together, we'll always stay. I was about to say Obama means family and family means no one left behind. You know what? Sure. Obama means family, and family means no one left behind. It's a very sweet, tender moment, and also Ephraim never cracks a joke. Like, he takes it serious. Like, it's a serious moment, and Ephraim respects that. It's a very tender moment between siblings. It lets you know a lot about their insecurities, and it's a solid support. And their ending reads as follows. Busy days awaited Eirika and Ephraim as they struggled to rebuild Renee. Their work gave new hope to those ravaged by the war, and with Eirika's constant help, Ephraim grew to be a trusted and honorable king. Nothing much to add to that one. You've seen their relationship, you've seen it when it's joking around and laid back, you've seen it when it's serious, you've seen it when it's soft and tender. They are just great siblings. Like, I love them a lot. Are they my favorite sibling pair in Fire Emblem? Probably. Which is a little unfair because they're main characters. But, like, Fire Emblem does have a lot of great siblings. Minerva, Michaelis, and Maria, Marth and Elise. The entirety of the second generation of Genealogy of the Holy War. I could keep going on and on and on. Crom and Lissa are also really great. Like, there's just a lot of great siblings, and this is another good one. It's really good. I feel like I just keep talking over myself because, you know, there's only so many ways to explain, hey, this is why this works. But that's what I wanted to do here today. Eirika has a relationship with her brother that's both funny, but also very serious and sweet when it needs to be. She has a forbidden love story that works out in the end through the power of love always winning. She has a world-building support that doesn't really make any sense as to, like, why it is like it is, but it's kind of cool for that. It's very sweet. She has a great blossoming friendship because, like, hey, unlike all of her other friends, Larshel is someone she met during the game. So you get to see a friendship grown from the ground up, and you get to see, like, Eirika eventually learned to understand Lost Shouts really good. You have BFF, means best friend forever. And you don't need to just lose the friendships you made. Like, they'll stick around for as long as you live. We got absolutely dunking on Inez because he deserves it on a cosmic level. And we have a sweet romance between a princess and her knight without baggage. Some people might like baggage, some people might just like it sweet. You got both flavors. So there we go. 4.5 years after I did the Eirika character analysis and said I would cover the supports in their own video one day, here I am. This entire thing happened because I was just playing Sonic Heroes, and I went, you know, I have a 100% save file, and I went looking through my ranks, and I saw that on a Team Chaotic stage, I took 35 minutes and got an A rank. And I went, what the fuck was I doing? And in the photo I took of it, my little Eirika stand ETH, I don't know how you call it, was in the shot. And then I looked at Eirika and went, wait a minute. Hold on. And then that made me do this video. Everything I do in my life is either because of Fire Emblem or Sonic the Hedgehog. Or a combination of both. Everything in my life.